Hello, welcome to our March webinar with the Alabama Campaign for Adolescent Sexual Health. My name is Taryn, and I am the outreach coordinator who coordinates these webinars. A little bit about us is that we envision to have accessible and comprehensive sex ed for adolescents throughout Alabama and advance our mission to champion healthy adolescent development through medically accurate and ethical sexual health education and services. So a couple announcements from us. We are having a packing party in Birmingham. Um, so if you'd like more information about that, you can check out our social media and our website. And our registration for our Youth Advisory Council, the Girls at the Center Youth Advisory Council, is open. For more information, you can send an email or look at our website. So if you'd like to introduce yourself as our guest from March, you can go ahead. And we're very excited to have you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sharita Crear. I am a certified full spectrum doula here in Birmingham, Alabama. A little about myself. I am the founder and CEO of Rooted in Wisdom Wholistic Services. I've been a doula for about a year and a half, and my specialty is postpartum bereavement. And I chose that particular part of birth work because I felt as if, one, there were doulas that really weren't tapping into the bereavement side of postpartum, because a lot of the times people often forget that once a mom loses her baby, even though she is grieving, she is also going through postpartum. And if anyone knows about postpartum, it is a really, really, really trying time for both mom and dad, especially if they're first-time moms. So just to explain what a full spectrum doula is. A full spectrum doula is someone who provides emotional, physical, and informational support during a variety of reproductive experiences, so not just childbirth. So this means we assist families through all stages, such as pregnancy, birth, miscarriage, abortion, and postpartum, and more. And another thing about me, I'm also a student midwife as well. And so when we talk about the services that full spectrum doulas provide, let's say pregnancy and birth, we offer support during prenatal visits, helping with comfort measures during labor, and providing emotional support. For mom and dad, we cannot forget about our fathers. For miscarriage and abortion, yes, and abortion, we help people navigate the emotional and physical challenges of losing a pregnancy or making decisions about abortion. And even if, despite what your views are about abortion, it's a spiritual thing. You've lost a child, and we are trying to help you heal both mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So people often forget that you have to heal after you had these traumatic events, and they are traumatic events. And postpartum, we support families as they adjust to life after birth, offering guidance such as newborn care, emotional support, and breastfeeding. And one thing that I do as a postpartum doula, because I do postpartum by itself as well, is I provide overnight postpartum support for moms and dads, because moms need their sleep, they need their energy. And the one thing that really causes postpartum depression and anxiety is lack of sleep. So my passion for working with families and the youth is a personal one, because I feel as though we don't give our youth enough attention, especially when it comes to sexual health. We tend to forget that we were once in their spots, just doing any old thing, and, learning from pretty much the streets about sex and informed consent and STDs. And even when we talk about STIs and STDs, you really don't get the full picture. We'll have the same old slideshows with, I'm going to show you a penis with herpes, and I'm going to show you what pubic lice looks like. But we never really address the emotional and the spiritual and the physical issues that come with having sex. And oftentimes when it comes down to explaining sex, sexual health, or just navigating teenage pregnancy, it's sort of a, I don't want to say gray area, but it's kind of awkward. And it shouldn't be awkward. Sex is not taboo. Sex has been going on since the dawn of time. And if you look at the history of sex, when we go back to the Victorian era or the king and queen era, they wanted the you were considered an old maid if you didn't have a child by 20. So I feel as though sexual education for the youth is important. And the way that we can reach the youth is to, one, we have to reach the parents, because the parents don't know anything. And so the kids are only going to know what their parents teach them if their parents decide to teach them. And also, we're in Alabama. We are in the Bible Belt. So having to push sexual education is extremely hard because this is a very religious state. So, to understand what I do as a doula, or what doulas are experienced support individuals who provide consultation and resources instead of clinical care. And so a lot of times people confuse doulas with midwives. Like, people have heard of doulas. Now they're becoming, I want to say, mainstream, but doulas are as old as midwives. So midwives are medically trained professionals that provide clinical care to women during pregnancy, labor, and delivery. Doulas, on the other hand, are not medically trained support professionals. We are support professionals that offer emotional, physical, informational support. And again, we are not medically trained. So if at any point you decide to hire a doula for your birth and they do not emphasize that they are not medically trained professionals, you should fire them, because doulas should not be doing cervical checks. That is a midwife's job. Doulas should not be giving you Pitocin. That is a midwife's job. Doulas shouldn't be checking fetal heartbeats. That is a midwife's job. So just like doctors and nurses, we as doulas and midwives have our own scope of practice. And so oftentimes you would hear doulas say, "Oh, we mother the mother," and that's just it. We treat mothers as if they're her own kids. Let's just say you have a mom, she's just given birth, she's been in the hospital for 24 hours, and the very first thing that the family would do is go see the baby. Nobody checks up on mom. Nobody sees how mom, how mom is doing. So we are that extra village for the mother. So when we talk about Doula Support, as far as sexual health and informed consent when it comes to the youth, the very first thing that we often do is we have to provide a safe space for education. I know there are a lot of memes around, saying Gen Z, this, and Gen Z is not stupid. Kids are not stupid. Kids are very intuitive. And so if we want to be able to reach the younger population, we have to learn how to build a rapport. And I know when it comes to teaching, there's always like a superiority complex there, and sometimes we have to take it down a notch. So if children know when you're quote unquote the ops. And so we have to establish an environment where the youth feel heard, respected, and safe to express their thoughts, feelings, and questions without fear of judgment. Because if they wanted judgment, they would just go to their parents. And also, you guys, another thing about me, feel free to, at any time you have any questions or any commentary, I love to hear you guys. I would love to hear you guys' perspective, because I'm only giving you guys my perspective. And I think we're coming together as a community because there's a problem that needs to be solved. So I really love back and forth and just hearing what you guys have to say. I have my paper, I'm writing everything down. because as I'm teaching, I'm also learning from people. I'm 27, so I have like a whole life to live. So if I can get maybe a seasoned perspective on something, I would greatly appreciate it as well. Just throwing that out there. So key points, when we talk about informed consent, I don't talk about informed consent without talking about self love. I think oftentimes we get put in predicaments because we don't love ourselves, and we can teach, we can bribe, we can yell at these kids about what not to do. But if kids don't have that self-love, then everything that we do is kind of pointless. You have Just look at adults. We go about doing some things that our teenage self would do out of the fact that we don't really love ourselves. So the number one um, thing that I really love to teach is just self-love. So just covering just the top points of informed consent. Consent must be freely given, not forced, not pressured, not manipulated. It must be informed, understanding all aspects before deciding. Um, and the reason why I feel like a lot of our teens aren't able to make these decisions because they lack confidence. I teach kids all the time. You really have to be serious. No, we can say no means no, but your no really has to be a confident no. And if you have to, if I look, I'm real. If you have to cuss somebody out, cuss somebody out. I said no. Period. Point blank. That it is what it is. It is Consent is specific. Saying yes to one thing doesn't mean that I'm saying yes to everything. I may have said I wanted to do this, but you're trying to stick it in where the sun don't shine. Is, is somebody does somebody have their hand raised? Okay, maybe it's just me. And also, consent is reversible. Somebody can change their mind at any time. If I am spread eagle on the bed and I don't want to do it anymore, I'm out of here. I don't want to do it anymore. So, we encourage informed decision making by helping the youth understand their rights and their options when it comes to sexual health, discussing the emotional, physical, and social aspects of sexual activities. Yes, we can continue to say, yeah, no, if you have sex with this person, then you're having sex with three other people. But let's get deeper than that. If you have sex with this person, you're taking on the energy of three other people. And why am I depressed? Why am I down? Why is life just terrible? Well, it's an energy transfer. And I understand everybody may not believe in that, and that's fine. That's just my personal belief. You are taking on the energies of the partners that your partner has had, male or female. Also, reinforcing the importance of consent in healthy relationships and all sexual encounters. And I think that one topic that doesn't get enough shine is domestic violence relationships, or um, getting sexually assaulted in your relationship, boyfriend and girlfriend. Like, yes, no, that's your boyfriend, but if I tell you no, it means no. It does. Just because we are together, it doesn't mean that you can just get it anytime that I said no. And and so I think that there are a lot of avenues when it comes to informed consent that we either don't know to touch on, or we're so hyper focused on the no means no part. We have to work on confidence. A lot of us are not confident to say no. No, don't do that. No, 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 don't do that. I said no. It is what it is. When it comes to supporting sexual health, contraception, and STI prevention, a lot of us know what condoms are. A lot of us don't know how to put them on. If I have an umbrella and I walk outside, it's not going to do me any good if I don't open it up. So Understanding condoms, dental dams, female condoms. There are people didn't. My boyfriend didn't even know that there were condoms for women. Birth control pills. Yes, there are different type of options. You have the shot, and you have the pills, and you have the IUD, you have the patch, you have that's the NuvaRing. But also, aside from giving us just the benefits of using this birth control, let's be honest with these are the side effects of this birth control. And my own personal story, I was on Depo for about 4 years in high school. And so I went into a really, really, really bad depression. On top of being a growing teenager who already had like hormones going all over the place, now I have this extra hormone. Now I'm on my period for months at a time. Now everybody is scared to be around me, and it has a domino effect because I just don't. My mom, she doesn't want babies in her house, but also the way that it affect me. If I I can't even stand being on my period for 3 days. I I don't want to be on my period for months. I went to a school where you had to wear khaki pants and uniforms. I stopped wearing khaki pants completely because my periods became so irregular. Everybody was in my household was scared to be around me. And as I grew up, it affected me mentally in the relationships with my family because I really felt like my family didn't understand. And even at the time, I didn't understand what my body was going through. So if we want to put our kids on birth control, and I'm not just saying, oh no, just don't do that. No, we have to explain the risk and the benefits and the alternatives of using birth control. Explaining the effectiveness of each method. Let's be thorough, let's be honest, and clarifying common myths and misconceptions about birth controls and STIs. Um, we know that HIV/AIDS, people think that AIDS is HIV, but I had to often explain to people, no, HIV is HIV, and then after a while, if you don't have it under control, it turns into full blown AIDS. And to keep the dignity of some of the patients that I had, I don't let people say that people died of AIDS. No, they didn't die of AIDS. They died of AIDS related complications. No, they died of the flu. They died of pneumonia because of their immune system wasn't strong enough to fight off this virus. So we had to teach the kids about having a little respect and a little dignity for AIDS patients, and just letting them understand the difference between both. Now, my favorite um, part of this series would be the doula services for pregnancy, childbirth, and postpartum for teen parents. And I feel like it is really, 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 really needed because people tend to forget that they're about to be parents. And just because she's 16, 17 years old, she's still going through the same things that a 35-year-old woman, 25-year-old woman who is about to have a kid that is going through. And so it's going to be different because providing doula services for teens involves a unique approach that prioritizes education and support. Pregnant teens often face challenges beyond the physical changes because of their age and limited experience, and they may become more sensitive and vulnerable to the outside influence. I know when I was in high school, I used to get picked on a lot, and I was very subconscious, and I did care about what other people had to say about me. And so, as an adult now, I don't care. It is what it is. But as a kid, as someone who has to face peer pressure all the time, wanting to, struggling to fit in, worried about gossip, just high school mess, high school bully, and adding that on top of being pregnant with the hormonal changes and not understanding really what's going on, it's really hard. I feel like it's harder to be a teen mom off the simple fact of You have all of these, again, outside influences, as well as the perception of pregnancy, birth, and parenting. They're shaped by the media. At this point, everything is shaped by the media. So shows like Teen Mom and 16 and Pregnant, and the one that was on when I was growing up was The Secret Life of the American Teenager. I loved it. I'm not gonna lie to you. And so, just an example, how Amy became pregnant, and the show addressed some of the challenges of teen pregnancy, but it really focused on the relationship drama and the social dynamics instead of the physical and the emotional realities of pregnancy. So when you look into giving each client or teen the support that they need, we have to provide prenatal education. Many teens might not have a lot of experience or knowledge about childbirth. And again, you only know what you know. Your parents might not know a lot about childbirth education. There are women that I've met that didn't know that they had three holes down there. Yes, in just regular conversation, you have three holes that I didn't know. Yes, you have the urethra, the anus, and the vagina. People don't know that because people weren't taught that. Um, and helping the team understand the options as far as, do they want to give them up for adoption? Do they want to have an abortion? Do they want to give them up for foster care? Teaching them the different stages of labor and what to expect. A lot of us go into labor just knowing that, okay, well, my water broke, it's time to push. When in actuality, when your water breaks, it really, you haven't dilated anything. Your water just break, and you could give birth 3 days later. But a lot of people don't understand that. Teaching kids about the breathing techniques, the stages of labor, and pain relief options. You don't have to have an epidural, because we have went over these comfort measures, and now we're using a rebozo. Now we're doing squats. Now we have controlled breathing. We're in different positions, laboring positions. That's not on your back. Um, Creating birth plans. A lot of the times when I'm with my birth clients, the very first thing, my birth plan is that I want to, just get out safely. Okay, yeah. And when the basketball teams want to go to the championship, they want to win, but guess what? They have to have a plan, because anything can happen. And so you want to be well prepared for whatever happens during birth. And even when you look um, through postpartum, you need a postpartum plan. Who's going to help take care of you? Who's going to help take care of the house? Are we going to do daycare? Uh, are you going to come in and watch the baby so I can get some? Are you going to meal prep? Are you going to cook my meals? How is this going to go? Instead of just being thrown in the fire and just losing your mind. And going over stress management and nutrition. So explaining, hey, I know you like cup noodles. That is not a good option because it's high in sodium, and it can lead to preeclampsia, which could be an opener about pregnancy complications. Providing, so when we provide doula services during childbirth, so we just left pregnancy, now we're in the childbirth stage. We've already built our foundation during the pregnancy stage. And so, what it looks like during labor, a doula provides hands-on support, such as suggesting different positions, using massage, helping with breathing, providing comfort measures like hot and cold packs, and it can help the teen cope with the pain and stress during labor. And even like a lot of adults, a lot of women don't know, hey, you don't you don't need an epidural. It's your choice. If you want it, that's fine. But we've been doing this for a very long time, and it has worked. Um, but the main thing that I want to stress is that the main role of a doula is advocacy and communication. Teens, even adults, may not feel confident in communicating with medical staff or expressing their desires during labor. And so we help the team advocate. We don't make the choices, but we help them advocate their needs, ensuring that their voice is heard And so we talk about how to communicate the informed consent. And this is important because even in the state of Alabama, the maternal mortality rate is high for all women. I don't care what color you are. It's high for all of us because we are not listened to. Women aren't listened to. We are hysterical. We just need to go take a nap. We don't know what we're talking about. And so when we're not listened to, when we go to these hospitals, we end up dying. We end up having unnecessary complications that were completely avoidable. We help support this family members. So teaching the family members how to best provide emotional and physical support without overwhelming the team. We are teaching the family how to come together as one. This is maybe a new experience for everybody. So we're all in this together. I'm not taking your place. If I have to, I have to. You know, I can be your mom, your dad, your baby daddy. It's cool. I can be all of it. And lastly, we for postpartum support, we ensure a smooth transition into parenthood with an emotional and physical and practical guidance, such as addressing newborn care, mental health, self-care practices, and breastfeeding. People think, you know, you look on TV and the baby's born and automatically they, know how to breastfeed. Wrong. That's not right. No, absolutely not. And a lot of people get stressed out and want to give up when it comes to breastfeeding because they feel as though it's instantaneous. It's not. The baby is new here. You're a new mom. You both have to learn how to, baby has to learn how to latch. Baby has to learn how to suckle from the breast. You have to learn different, holding positions for baby. Um, I had a conversation. Someone said, I don't understand why or how you could uh, help teens. It's not that, it is necessary. If it's necessary for grown women, I promise you it's necessary for teen moms. They're just as clueless as someone who's an adult who's never had a child before. And so, with that being said, I'm opening the floor to any questions, comments, commentary, perspectives.
Hi, Sharita. This is Christina. Excuse me, Christina. I'm the director at the Alabama campaign. Thank you so much for um, everything that you've shared with us today. I think it's been really insightful. I've actually done some doula work before I was director here. So it was nice to hear about the work that doulas do and the importance of education. Um, I was wondering, one, could you tell us where in Alabama you're practicing, and two, like how has your practice gone with young women, young adults? Are they seeking you out? Are you seeking them out? How is that working within your practice? I was just curious.
So I service mostly the Birmingham area. I also work with a doula in Columbus, Georgia as well. So I service moms in like the Fort Mitchell area as well. What was your second question?
I was just wondering, when you work with young moms or young women who are pregnant, I don't know if you worked with any teen parents or if they're older than teens, but not full adults yet. And whether or not they seek you out, like if you kind of market yourself in that way, or are they you seeking them out? I was just curious about that aspect of your business.
Oh yes. So I really seek out the teen moms again because doula work is to the general public is fairly new. And so a lot of the time just regular, moms don't even know that they have these services available. And I think I talked to one of the local high schools that's right down the street from me and just, you know, pitch them an idea like, hey, maybe we need to do a community baby shower for these girls and do childbirth education, just a little bit of childbirth education. And of course, you know, with them being in high school, you know, they'd have to, you know, get their, you know, parental consent. But I also like to encourage the parents to come as well, because you know, this is a learning opportunity for everybody. And so one thing about information is to be shared. So the information that the parents and the kids learn, they can go out into the community and spread the same information. So my goal actually for the rest of the year is to try to get into the Birmingham city school system. And I know it's going to be like pulling teeth. I know it is, because again, for some reason, sex is such a taboo topic when it's natural, especially when you're talking about kids as young as 12, you know, start feeling things. So I know for parents it's really hard. My little boy or my little girl, they're entering this stage of life where they want to experiment. And so if the parents can't teach them, there has to be some type of community leader to be able to teach these kids the right information, not the regular just don't have sex, because they're kids. They're going to do what they want to do anyway. So I would rather, you know, you get the right information than to, you know, get wrong information and, you know, just be messed up out here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, being a sexual health organization, that all resonates with us very much. Working with schools is very difficult. And because there are, you know, they might be okay with you talking about some things and not other things, and just like the parameters that are required from each individual school district can be a lot. But that's great to hear that you're doing that work up in the Birmingham area. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anybody else?
I do have one more question. Can you tell us where we can find you? Like, do you have Instagram page, or Facebook feels so old now, but do you have Facebook? Where can we like look up your services, share it with somebody if we come across somebody who might need them? That kind of thing.
I actually have a link tree. I could find my link really quick if that's possible and put it in the chat.
Yeah, that would be great, and we can also share it with the email, the follow-up email. So that's great.
Okay.
Don't want
Well, while we're
to.
here, oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was just gonna say I don't want to like take over anybody speaking, but I do want to draw everyone's attention to there's a survey that Taryn dropped in the chat that will take you to a survey for the webinar. We'd love for you to take a few moments and fill that out before you leave us here today. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you so much, Sharita, for sharing um, about being a doula with young parents. Oh, and I'll just lift up this comment. Darika doesn't have mic
I
access.
also have a 3 day.
Thanks, Denise. Sharita, I think we might be having a bad connection issue. I'm not sure what's going on.
Yes. Your mic is a little like
A
staticky.
3 postponed. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, but you're just a little staticky.
Okay.
What were you going to say about your 3-day, something about a 3-day something?
Yes, ma'am. I have a 3-day postpartum doula workshop, traditional healing workshop, where I'm teaching the community actually how to go into their communities and help heal postpartum mothers actually. And the doula that I'm working with in Columbus just got approved for a HC1 connection. So I will be, after my training, I'd be able to actually certify people to become full spectrum doulas.
Oh, that's great. Can you share the link with us on that as well? And we'll include that in the follow-up email as well.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you all so much for being here. I did want to lift up, there was just one more comment. You might have already seen it, but Darika commented, I enjoyed. It also provided me with more insight on the scope of doulas and midwives. Thank you, Misha. Thank you, Denise, for completing that survey. Thanks, everyone, for being here. And thank you, Sharita, for sharing all your wisdom and knowledge.
And thank you for having me.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone. I'm going to hop off.
Yes, if we don't have any more questions, we can wrap up. But thank you all so much for being here. One more thing I forgot to announce is that we are having our Advocacy Day at the Capitol next month in April. Hold on, I'll get the actual date. On April 8th, we will be having our Advocacy Day at the Capitol. If you'd like to come or get more information, you can check out our social media or our website at alabamacampaign.org. So we'd love to have you there and have our voices heard. That's the only announcement I have. Please fill out the survey. That would be fantastic. It helps us like better scope who's our audiences and what people are interested in for our next webinars. We always do them every second Tuesday, except next month it won't be on the second Tuesday. But normally it is the second Tuesday of the month from 12 to 1 Central Standard Time. And I think that's all. So if you don't have any more final questions or comments, I'll let you all enjoy your afternoon. Thank you all so much, and thank you for supporting our work. Thank you, Sharita, for this information. I surely enjoyed it as well. And if that's it, any more final thoughts, questions, anything else? I don't think so. So I will send a follow. You can send me the information that we were talking about, and I'll write a follow-up email. So everybody who was here, you'll get a follow-up email by the end of the week with the link to watch this on YouTube. If you missed it or want to share with somebody, you can do that. I'll send it by the end of the week. And thank you all so much and have a great day.